Out the article, so let's go for it right now. The article is never get too familiar with God. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they." Moses said to the Lord, "If you put all these people to death, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath.'" The Lord replied, "I have forgiven them as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors." Numbers 14:10-23. The Bible declares in Jeremiah 17:9 that the heart of man is desperately wicked. It sends chills down my spine to think that some of the Israelites talked about stoning Moses after his hard work in bringing them out of Egypt. God was understandably angry because the people had treated God with contempt. He was ready to strike them down and make a new and greater nation out of Moses. But Moses intervened and reminded God that the nations will mock God and say, "The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath." God forgave the sins of his people, but there were severe consequences for their disobedience. And this is what I was telling everybody out here, that all these people that came back to Christianity from the occult, that if they repented and said that they were sorry for what they had done, God would forgive them, but there would be severe consequences. They would never be able to use those powers, those demonic powers, ever again. And Richard Lorenzo absolutely doesn't want to hear that. None of the wicked grumblers would see the promised land. They wandered in the wilderness for 40 years until each of them died off. It is said that familiarity breeds contempt. The Israelites had become so familiar with the presence of God on the journey that some of them have had no reverence for God or respect for his servant Moses. In God's own words, "How long will these people treat me with contempt?" In our walk with the holy God, may we never become so familiar that we take him for granted and treat him and his servants with contempt. When we question the integrity and ability of God, we treat him with contempt. When we give less than our best to God, we treat him with contempt. The spirit of familiarity exacts a heavy price. It is dangerous and definitely not worth it. Let's repent of any such inclination and walk with God in deep reverence. Anytime you dare bring God down to the level of a human being and call him daddy, you are treating him with contempt. You are treating him with contempt. For a pastor to do such a thing and teach it to his congregation is disgusting. Those people at that church need discipleship. They have no right to be trying to disciple anybody. Those people up there following Richard Lorenzo are in a lot of trouble. I'm going to leave this here. All of the documents that I spoke in the first video, they're in the description of the first video, including the article that I just read now. Okay? You guys have a blessed day.